Hi everyone. Today we'll be discussing about some basic but important marketing models, strategies, and matrices. Um, these things are basically taught in most of the management courses, but I think these are very important, tools, which important theories that every management student and specifically every marketing or international marketing student should know about. This slide is giving basic, introduction about giving a hint about what we are going to do. We are going to discuss in this session. So let's uh, move ahead. So firstly, we'll be discussing about the BCG matrix. This matrix is about how to allocate your resources. It's basically about resource allocation. It's a matrix between market growth and relative market share. So as you can see, it is a 2 cross 2 matrix. It's in between low market growth, high market growth, and high market share and low market share. So uh, in this one quadrant is having high market growth and high market share. So these are the star products. Then there are high market growth but low relative market share. These are question mark products, and low market growth with high market share is called cash cows, and low market growth and low market share are called as dogs. So we can understand this with the example of Apple products. So let's look into the Apple portfolio. You can consider the star as iPhone because it's having a high market share, as well as the mobile phone market has high market growth rate as well. So companies should invest heavily in this segment. These are the money making segments products for the company. For the dog, you can consider it as iPod. That iPod segment, the market growth rate is very low, as well as the iPod in itself has a low market share. So these are the obsolete products. So companies should liquidate or divest them and invest in the other products. You can consider question mark as the MacBook. So the market growth for the laptop industry is very high, but the MacBook in itself does not enjoy a relative high market share. So uh, that would come under the question mark. And coming to the cash cow, you can consider iPad as the cash cow for Apple. So cash cows are basically mature products which are have been existing from a long time, but now the market growth for that segment is less since uh, people like to have a mobile phone. People always have mobile phone with them, so they don't feel the need of an iPad or tablet as such. They would, if they need a bigger screen, they would use a laptop as such. So yeah, these are the cash cows, and it's said that you should milk the products as much as possible without killing the cow. So I hope this matrix is clear. Um, Next, we are going towards ENSOF matrix. It's a matrix between existing and new markets and existing and new products. It tells us what which factors we should consider and which strategy we should implement while introducing a product, or before venturing into a new market. So if you are introducing your product, uh, existing product, if you're having an existing product and in an existing market, you should use market penetration strategy. um, while if you are introducing a new product in a new market, you should use the diversification strategy. While if you are introducing a new product in an existing market, you should use product development strategy. And if you are introducing existing product in new market, then you should use market development strategy. Next, coming to Porter's five forces model. So this model basically tells us about the segment attractiveness before venturing out into that segment. So before introducing your product or service in a um, segment, you should consider these five forces, these five factors. That is threat of new entrants, threat of substitutes, the competition, and the bargaining power of suppliers as well as buyers. Okay, coming to the next is the Porter's generic strategies model. This is again a matrix between scope, which could be narrow, broad, and source of competitive advantage. As we know, the source of competitive advantage, um, it can be by cost leadership or by differentiation strategy. Cost leadership means we introduce our products or services at an leader cost leadership advantage, that is the price lower than the other competitors. Differentiation means we are providing some unique benefits that the competitors are not providing. So when the scope is broad, we use the cost leadership strategy and differentiation. When the scope is narrow, then we use the same strategy but with more focus. So cost leadership with focus. Differentiation strategy turns into differentiation with focus. Now coming towards this matrix, this is used in consumer behavior to to get to know about consumer culture. Um, so this matrix helps us the analyzing the behavior of consumers better. So we can this is a matrix between high and low involvement purchase decisions and what goes through the minds of consumers. Are they thinking a lot or are they feeling a lot? So we can uh, understand that this with this example diagram. So let's say you are buying a insurance, life cover on or some family car, home furniture, etc. So these are high involvement purchase decisions. These require high thinking. So these come under the informative quadrant. Coming towards the effective quadrant. Now this is take the example of sports car or some expensive perfume, expensive watch, expensive restaurants, or a holiday package. So these are also high involvement and expensive decisions, but these are more into the feeling aspect of the consumer. These that means the more passion is involved rather than logic or rationale. So people, if they have passion for an uh, antique product or some old car, then they don't hesitate to spend money on that. So it's more on the passion part, but it still involves high involvement decision making. Next, coming to the habitual category, these are the basic tools and devices we use in our everyday life, like kitchen stuff, personal care products, disposable items. So these are the routine items. They are low involvement buying uh, products, but they involve thinking. Lastly, there's a satisfaction category. These are the basic confectionaries, the fast food and soft drink, ice creams. So they don't involve a lot of thinking before investment before buying them. They are also into the feeling category. If people have passion for them, and then they buy these things. Um, Next, coming to the 5C analysis. This is a basic model, like how a company is doing, what are our products and services offerings, what is our competitors' take on that, how our competitors are performing, and then we see how to target them, how the customers perceive us. Then we discuss how we analyze the collaborators, people we are working with, and lastly, we also analyze closely the environment in which we are working, that is the climate. So a basic model, not much into going into it. Now there's a GE matrix. This was coined by McKinsey and Company. Um, so this theory or matrix could be uh, termed as an extension to the BCG matrix. Um, since the BCG matrix is a 2 cross 2 grid, this is, as you can see, is a 3 cross 3, and it goes more deeply into the resource allocation, as we already saw in BCG matrix. This matrix is between industry attractiveness and the business unit strength. So in the middle, you can see, you can term these old product hands, these hands, as they are like the question marks of the BCG matrix. That these are um, these products or services are very, confusing to the company. That is, they don't know that these will perform well or not, so they should invest them in not or not is a big decision. So only after a lot of thinking and involvement and analysis, only these should be invested in, or they should be kept on hold. In the top, you can see the growth or invest segments. So these are the product or services, as we saw in BCG matrix. These could be terms of the stars or the cash cows. So uh, these have industry attractiveness and business unit strength as well. So these products should be invested heavily upon. And in the lower right corner, you can see these are the ones which does not have industry attractiveness, and so they these should be divested, or money should be harvested somewhere else, or these products should be liquidated as soon as possible, because these could product or services could turn to be troublemakers in the future. Next, coming to the product communication matrix. So there are 5 points involved in this. Um, Firstly, this is basically a matrix for international marketing. So it tells us about which strategy to use in, like, one, the first point could be product extension and communication extension, that is dual extension. So this strategy could be used by new entrants in the market, or some companies which don't have enough resources, so they would extend the same product and the same communication strategy in a region. This is the first strategy in under this matrix. The second strategy is product extension but communication adaptation. So you're extending the same product, like the existing product, but you're changing your communication strategy depending upon the local requirements, how people are perceiving the product in that region. Next would be product adaptation and communication extension. So you are using the same communication strategy, but you are changing your product because of any different demand in a local area. Then we have product adaptation and communication adaptation, that is dual adaptation. So this could be required when you are venturing out into a completely new cultural as well as physical environment. So you might have to change your product as well as your communication strategy. Lastly, there would be product invention. This strategy, some global marketeers use this strategy to introduce their product at a global level. So they are not targeting at any specific local market. So they are devising their product as well as the strategy to cater to global needs requirements. So that's it. One more thing. Yes, this is a balanced scorecard which I think management graduates should know. So this tells us about basic. It is about four basic aspects: financial, customer, innovation, and internal aspects. Under financial, we uh, tend to analyze our strategies on the financial domain, as how shareholders perceive a firm. In the internal segment, we tend to analyze as to how we can excel in our internal business growth. In the customer segment, we discuss on how do our customers perceive us, and lastly, in the innovation part, what new should we do, to keep sustaining and thriving in the business environment. So yes, that's it from my side. So I hope you liked the video, and okay, so see you all until next time. Goodbye. Thank you.